Let's get straight into it. Masters of the Universe Revelation started well and then turned into the wrong show. That's the simplest way to put it. Those first two episodes, pretty damn good. They looked good, felt big, they had some weight, and for a minute it really felt like, all right, here we go. This is how we're going to bring He Man back. I'm down, I like it. And then it took a weird turn. Because after that strong start, the thing that kept hitting me was one very obvious question. I think it was a very obvious question for most people. Where the hell is He Man? That is a problem. I mean, it's not the whole problem, but it's the main one. You do not bring back He Man after all this time. Get people excited. Open with a couple of strong episodes, and then make the audience start wondering why the actual He Man part feels weirdly pushed off to the side. That's insane. I mean, the show didn't look ugly, it definitely wasn't lazy, it wasn't some dead corporate product with no personality. If anything, that's what made it more frustrating. You can see the money on the screen, you can see the effort, you can see some real talent went into it. But they still made the weirdest possible choice for a He Man comeback. It stopped feeling like a He Man show after, like, what, two, maybe three episodes? And I don't think that's some crazy unfair complaint. I think that's the most normal complaint in the world. If you market a return like this, people are showing up for the main guy. That's the whole point. People came back for He Man. They do not come back for a show that made He Man feel like part of the setup for something else. That's where my disappointment comes from. And yes, I also think that the show had a little bit of that boss girl energy in places. I'm not saying it was some giant woke conspiracy. I'm not even saying that kind of shift can never work. I'm saying it fell off here and there. It felt like the show was more interested in proving that it could take the spotlight away from the obvious center than in actually making the obvious center feel huge. Well, they can't. And that's a weird instinct to have for this kind of revival, isn't it? It gives the whole thing a strange side away energy where you start watching and then you think, well, okay, it's different, but is this really the right kind of different for a He Man comeback? And for me, the answer is no. And that's what makes the show so annoying to talk about because it's not some clean disaster. It really isn't. It's not one of those easy cases where you can just laugh it off and say, yeah, it sucks and move on. I think it's better than that. I think it has too much quality for that. It starts too well for that. It has too many moments where you can see what it could have been. I think that's what frustrates me. And, a bad show is easy to dismiss, and a show that almost works is harder to forgive. Because those first episodes really do make you think they've got it. They feel confident, they feel like they understand the assignment. And then once the show starts drifting into that other angle, once it stops feeling like a direct He Man comeback and starts feeling like something more indirect, more interested in in the surrounding statement than in the central myth, that's where it loses me. And I think that's where it lost a lot of people. I think, not sure, but I think. I'm I'm not saying the fans are babies. That's not why they lost people. It's not because change is stupid, but it's because the comeback got cute when it should have gotten simple. That's the mistake. A comeback like this should not be coy. It should not be trying to play smart little games with the audience. No, it should walk in, plant its flag, and say, this is why He Man matters. This is why Eternia still works. This is why this world still has power. Revelation, it doesn't really do that. It gives you flashes of it, which is almost worse, really. There are moments where the show looks fantastic. There are moments where, the skill is there, where the drama is there, where the humor lands, where you can feel the potential, but then it keeps making the same bad trade. It keeps giving you something that is maybe interesting on paper, but it's just wrong for the main relaunch of He Man. That's the word I keep coming back to. Wrong. It's not offensively wrong, not morally wrong, just wrong for the moment, wrong for the comeback, wrong for what this project needed to be. Because when you bring back a character like He Man, the first thing you need is not a debate. You need a fucking win. You need to give people, what they want. You need people leaving that first watch saying, yes, That's why He-Man is the shit. This is why He-Man rules. Instead, a lot of people left saying, yeah, it looked good, but why did it feel like it was dodging the obvious thing that I came for? That's not where you want to be with a show like this, not with a relaunch. No. Now, all that said, I still don't think the show was worthless. And I think this is where I land a little bit differently than maybe people who completely wrote it off. Even if Revelation was weak as a comeback, which it is, maybe it still helped to do something useful. Maybe it shook the dust off the brand. Maybe it proved there was still enough interest, enough energy in this property to get things moving again. Because we did get Revolution after it, and from the little bit that I've seen, it already feels like they've got the message. You know, it feels more direct, it feels more like an actual He Man show. It feels like somebody realized the first attempt got a little bit too weird with the angle, and they needed to put the big blonde man with the sword back in the middle and, keep it going from there. And beyond that, we also got a live action movie coming, don't we? So maybe Revelation, for all its problems, still mattered. Maybe it was the awkward first push. Maybe it was the stylish false start that helped point the franchise back towards something clearer. Maybe. And if that's what it ends up being, then fine. That still gives it some value. But that does not suddenly make it a great comeback. No. I'm not saying Revelation was garbage. I'm saying it was wrong the way they did it. It opened strong, it looked strong, and then made the baffling decision to stop being the show people thought they were getting. It was not really a He-Man show when that was the one thing that it absolutely needed to be, man. Oh, come on. And for me, I'm baffled, you know, not because they dared to do something different, you know, but because they tried the wrong thing at the wrong time. That's that that's just what makes it disappointing. Not that it was hopeless, not talentless, but it was close enough to actually be something good and they just missed it. And with a comeback like this, almost doesn't count. You either make people feel He-Man is back or you don't. And Revelation didn't.